Hey fam, what is up? We are back at it with another training and I'm so excited. I know I say that in every training, but for real, this one's gonna be a good one. So, if you guys don't know me, I am Victoria and I am a fitness coach and a health coach. And I help women build their bodies with confidence in and out of the gym while still enjoying the foods they love and improving their relationship with food. So, I'm excited to dive into this one because it's gonna be such a good thing for you to unlock about yourself and about your results. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. So let's get going. So we're going to talk about why you're not losing fat and the 4 hidden mistakes you don't realize you're making that are keeping you stuck. They're keeping you stuck. And this is what we're going to do here. So number 1, I'm going to share a little bit of background about how this kept me stuck too, so you guys can just get that visual. You're tracking your food, but you're not tracking everything you eat. So maybe you're going into the pantry and grabbing that bag of chips, taking it back to your desk with you and grazing on those for a couple hours. And you're like, oh, I probably only had a serving, but it's been a few hours since you really stopped eating them, right? Or maybe it's those peanut butter cups you sneak in the pantry midday to get you through the day as your little sweet treat, right? Or maybe it's that ice cream that you have every night, but you're like, okay, it's my treat. It's my time to unwind. I'm not going to track it, right? These things matter. And we don't need to be obsessive about every single little calorie or making sure that we're 100% spot on with our calories every single second, because we don't want that. That's going to worsen our relationship with food, right? But we do need to be truthful for ourselves. We do need to make sure that we are taking into consideration the things that are going to be vital to our fat loss process, because that's a big difference, right? Then tracking foods that are we're maybe unsure about how to track versus tracking foods that we know how to track, we're just choosing not to track, right? So let me ask you this. Are you being truthful to yourself and your goals? Are you self-sabotaging your fat loss by choosing not to be aware of what you're eating and how much you're eating of it because you don't want to give that thing up? Because I'm here to tell you, you don't have to give that thing up. It doesn't need to be done. You 100% don't need to give that thing up. You just have to take account for it and ownership for it before you eat it so that you could plan your day around it, right? If I know I want to have ice cream, I'll put it in my tracker first thing in the morning. I'm going to be like, today's like an ice cream kind of day. Or if I get to the end of the day and I know after dinner I'm going to have ice cream, I'll put that in before I eat dinner so I could plan the rest of my dinner around it, right? I'll stick with high protein and high fiber to keep me full and maybe save some of my fats for that ice cream that I want to have, right? So there's always ways to go around it, but are you being truthful to yourself? Are you owning those things that you know are keeping you stuck, but you're not doing instead? So be truthful to yourself. Take those snacks, measure them out, and then bring them back to your desk or your table or your couch or wherever you like to eat them. And then that way you don't have to bring the whole bag and be tempted to continue to eat them hours and hours and hours later, right? Or you can get those single serving bags like I love, the Skinny Pop ones, or Pop Chips, Popcorners. I love those. I'm not a big salty person, but when it comes to salty, those are my favorite. Or I'll get too, if I want to snack on pretzels and hummus, I'll get the single serving hummus things and dip them in there. So that way I know okay, this is how much I'm having and this is what I'm taking account for. So that way I'm hitting my goals. I'm doing the thing. So that's one. Number 2 is you're going to the gym, but you're not pushing yourself like you know you can. Maybe you're showing up to the gym and you're I'm doing the damn thing. I'm here. That's what's most important, which absolutely. I would 100% rather you go to the gym than not go to the gym, but you're leaving a lot of stuff left in the tank. You're leaving 20 reps left in the tank. And that's when we start to hit a stagnant point in our muscle building process, because we're I know I could push myself harder, but I'm not pushing myself harder because it's uncomfortable. Right? And in order to see growth, we have to get a little uncomfortable sometimes. And of course, it's hard to admit. I remember when I first started out in my journey and I would kind of go and do I would do a push-pull leg split that I had gotten from my brother at the time. And this was kind of when I was just getting started with lifting. And I would pick up the same weights every single time. I'd do the same amount of reps every single time. And I was like, why am I not seeing any growth? Because I really wasn't challenging myself. At a certain point, it got too easy. And I was like, this is kind of easy. But I didn't want to admit it because I was like, well, I'm still here. I'm still working out. I'm still doing it, right? But I know that pushing myself to my point of failure almost all the time. We don't need to work out our hardest workout every single time. But in order to see muscle growth happen, 90% of the time we train, we have to train hard, right? We have to make sure that we're doing it efficiently, right? Because you don't want to keep going to the gym and showing up and doing your workouts but not putting your full effort towards it, because then it's like, you could have given more and you could be doing more, right? It doesn't need to necessarily, we need to work harder or do more, or do extra sets or extra reps. It just means we need to increase the weight or increase the reps, right? So if you're leaving with multiple reps left in the tank, that could be one of the things keeping you stuck. So I challenge you to increase the weight or increase the reps next time you go to the gym. So if you're doing lateral raises and you've been using the 10 pounders for ever and you can still do 10 to 12 reps, easy, increase the weight or go up to 15 to 20 reps, because girl, you are stronger than that and you know it and I know it. So anyway, moving on to number 3. You're stressed out 90% of the day, 90 to 95% of the day. And a lot of times, like, people don't talk about what cortisol could do to our body, but like, it's going to put you in that constant fight or flight mode, right? Like, your body is going to be going through it if you're stressed out 90 to 95% of the day, right? So our cortisol levels constantly being spiked has a huge effect on the way our body is able to build muscle, right? It can really hinder the way that we're able to build muscle. It could also cause a lot more inflammation in our body, which is going to cause us to store a little bit more fat in our bodies, right? So we have to make sure that we are getting those cortisol levels under control, because we don't want to be in a constant state of stress. So my favorite things to say, well, especially after years of strenuous cardio and under eating, we spent so long doing that, our bodies are already in that natural state of stress, right? And you're slowly working to repair that by hitting the weights and decreasing the cardio and increasing your food a little bit, right? Which is first step is amazing. So some other things that we can start doing, maybe instead of your coffee first thing in the morning, you have a high protein breakfast if you're not already, or you wait an hour or two after waking to have your first cup of coffee, because our cortisol is already spiked in the morning. So if we're going right for the pot of coffee and we're not giving our body time to like naturally wake up, our cortisol is going to keep going up, right? Or maybe something that you can do is pick one thing you love doing that like relaxes you, makes you feel good, makes you feel at ease, and do that thing first thing that when you wake up and then again before bed, right? Whether that's like, I know for me, I like to work out first thing because that's what gets me going in the day, and that's what helps me have like a productive and calm day, because I know I did something for myself. So I'll go do that, and then at night, I'll make sure I do something like watch a show. And maybe that's not the healthiest habit that people are going to probably grill me for, but let's be honest, like that's what I like to do, and that's what keeps me calm at night. So I'm going to do it. I don't care. So whatever that thing is that you like to do, it doesn't have to be the same exact thing in the morning and the night, but pick one thing that you feel like you can do in the morning and at night to help lower your stress levels. Maybe that's stress. Maybe that's read a good book. Maybe that's journal out your feelings or your frustrations from the day. Maybe that's setting up a nice bath for yourself with some essential oils and Epsom salt, or maybe that's just like having a nice conversation with your significant other or a friend, or anything that helps you take your mind off of what that stress is doing. But also, we don't want to totally ignore it. So allow yourself to feel stress and allow yourself to get those thoughts out, because that's important too. So that's why talking to a friend can be helpful, because you could just vent, get a quick vent session in, right? But we got to keep those cortisol levels in check if we want to see fat loss happen, right? All right, number 4, last but not least, you're scared of carbs and eating out, so instead you just don't eat. Or you resort back to point number 2 of grazing and picking, because you think like, okay, I'm going to not eat my full meals, but I'll just like pick throughout the day. That's better, right? But really it's not, because it's going to be doing the same thing for you. We can't cut out a food group, right? They are macronutrients for a reason. And that's the one thing I think that we tend to forget is like, carbs are a macronutrient and they make up your calorie intake for a reason. They are very significant in your progress. They're your friend. They're going to get you strong. They're going to give you power. They're going to help you build muscle, and they're going to give you energy, right? If we're completely cutting them out or we're afraid to eat them, then it's going to really impact our results a lot more than we'd think, right? And then also, like, working on your relationship with food might be something you need to spend a little bit more time doing to fully heal and see the results that you're looking for. Because I can tell you right now from personal experience that if you have that fear around food, and don't get me wrong, it does not happen overnight. Like, this stuff takes time, right? But if you always have that fear of food and you're constantly scared to eat things because you're afraid that they're going to make you gain weight or they're going to ruin your progress, that might be your first problem. Because we can't be afraid of food, right? It's just food. It's not going to bite. No, but really, like, I used to be afraid to go out with my friends and eat a pizza because I was like, I don't want to ruin all my results. But meanwhile, I was doing like all these other things that I shouldn't have been doing anyway. But like, that was the first thing that I should have been working on, because my relationship with food was so bad to the point where none of the other stuff mattered because I was so afraid to eat things. I was so afraid to have fun because I was just scared and I didn't know better, right? But that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm here to help you guys build your relationship with food. And it's such a process that is so fun to enjoy along the way. And yes, it's hard, and yes, it takes time and commitment, but it is so worth it, because I can't tell you how many times that I have like looked back on my journey and been like, wow, I really did so many things wrong. But I look at where I am now and I appreciate that, and I'm helping other women do the same, and I'm appreciative of that as well. So if any of these things resonated with you, they may be the reason why you're staying stuck and the reason why you're not seeing that fat loss happen. So I'd love to hear in the comments which one resonated with you the most and which one you feel like you want to make a change to start off. So drop a comment below on which one that's going to be. And if you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you guys soon.